from a demand point of view. And after I have my discussion, I'm going to chat with the biggest importer of mohair tops in China. And they are specializing in the adult market. So hopefully we can find from them out what is going to happen and what is the reasons for the resistance in the adult market at the moment. If we go to our presentation, the first slide, you'll see there was 437 lots offered today, which 351 was sold. That gives us a clearance of 80%. At one stage, I was feeling that it was actually worse than that, but we did sell some of it after the sale, and I'm quite sure that we will do some after sales during the week. From a positive side on this point is that there is, at the brokers, no mohair in stock. We've sold all the mohair up till now, and so the only stock that there is available is the stock of the mohair bales that didn't sell today. So at least that is a little bit of a positive. If we move to the next slide, you'll see that the kits went up again today. It went up with 2% on the previous sale as well. That demand is excellent and no problems. Young goats came down with 2% with an adult with an indicator of 270.1. That was a bit disappointing, especially here from the stronger side of 28, 29 microns, even 30 microns, there was a bit of resistance there. And the adults came down with another 1%, with a market indicator at 188 Rand, which was a bit disappointing and with a low clearance. If we move to the next slide, we will see, and I think a lot of people didn't remember this, exactly a year ago, we were at a record average of 289 Rand 16 for this particular sale. Today we stand at 259. That makes a 19% difference, which is a lot of money. And but we can't think it's only a year ago. And a part of this resistance, it came from especially when adults were selling a year ago at very high prices, at record levels. And there was a resistance, and we've waited for the market to recover, and then COVID-19 hit us. So a lot of people, because it's uncertainty in the market, just sit back and they're not coming back into the market, and that is causing the current downward pressure. You'll see it was mainly the two big processors that was buying that the mohair, and they buy because they must keep their factories running, but sorry, but they can't keep on buying if there's no demand for a certain type. Hopefully that will change soon. If we move to the next slide, you see the performance of the different micron groups. 24, 25 micron was unchanged. I will say that 25 micron was a little bit dearer today. 26, 27 micron sold well with an increase of 0.1%. Then with 28, 29 micron, where the trouble already started, came down with 6.3%. 30, 31 micron came down with 4%. And the farmers must realize that part of his reason is, especially that this micron group is struggling, is there's an oversupply of this younger types. Because of the drought, there's a lot of adults that also test 30, 31 micron and 20 and 28 and 29 micron. And because of this oversupply, that is why there's such a lot of downward pressure there. 32, 33 micron, 185, another drop of 2% to 2.6%, 35, 34, 35, 36 micron also dropped to 2% with a basic price of 180. And then the strong adults, which was really only a few bales, also came down to 175 rand a kilo. If we move to the next slide, we'll see the exchange rate was basically unchanged today. So it shouldn't have a real influence on the 2% drop. And it was mainly the fact that there's a lack of demand. Yet it was mainly the two processing plants that was buying, and the other buyers were very quiet. If you look there at the next slide, that the exchange rate influence was only 0.6% weaker on the previous auction. That is basically unchanged. It shouldn't have any influence in the market. But if we look at the next slide is with a graph, you'll see that the difference between the Cape indicator in rand terms and the dollar indicator is exactly at the same level, and actually that's how it should be. Yet that two lines must follow each other very closely, otherwise somebody is taking a chance. Just for interest's sake, that the dollar indicator is at $13.49 per kilo yet at the moment. I know there's a lot of farmers who are just asking why don't we sell in dollar. We can't sell in dollar because it's a South African market, it's against the law. But that is a job of a broker, is to watch the exchange rate, and I can guarantee you everybody is watching the exchange rate from overseas and the local buyers. And if there's an unfair advantage, naturally a broker will come into the market and make sure that the farmer gets the right price also in dollars. If we move to the next slide and we look at the top prices of a day of kits, there the highlight of the day with the Van Hasselt Farming, Guy and Jordi Van Hasselt from Prince Albert, with a super bale 23.8 microns, super style 92% clean yield, with a price of 707 Rand 10 a kilo. Congratulations to them. They've delivered an excellent clip under this circumstances. It's the second highest price of the season, with only Billy Colbon on the previous sale, fetching 710 Rand a kilo. So congratulations to both of these gentlemen. Excellent quality. Unbelievable that they can still deliver this kind of mower under the circumstances. Piet Viljoen of Kleinpoort, a regular Zenia winner at 650 Rand with his 25.4 micron bale. It's the first time that a 25 micron bale is also selling at better than 600 Rand a kilo. Then Ravna Becker and his two sons from Becker Trio Boerdery, also from Prince Albert, more to the wrist, for their 24 micron bale at 620 Rand 50. Congratulations to Ravna. And then Driehoeksfontein Boerdery of Maritzburg, also 615 Rand 10 for their excellent bale of 23 micron. And then Gert Jordan from Millie Trust of Aberdeen at 570 Rand for their 23.7 micron bale. One thing that all these bales have in common is that they were all identified with the EGT process, and that is something that everybody must really remember, especially with the market so sensitive for microns, that they make use of that system. It is cheap to make sure that you identify the correct finers on your farm. I don't want to leave out my friend Paul Micho that sells at OVK from Craddock today. He fetched 670 Rand, and then Scott Nell that sold at the BKB sale got 689 Rand for an excellent bale. Is the first time that I've seen a 21 micron bale with that length and quality that was offered today. Congratulations, Kalk and Paul, that you're also amongst the top 5 best prices. If we move to the top 5 young goats prices, very proud that by bidding, House of Fibre bidding there, the top price of the day at R555.10 for a 25 micron winter kit as young goat. Driehoeksfontein Boerdery in the second place there with 535. Then a bin bale at 525 again. And then Rafna Becker of Becker Trio Boerdery, Prince Albert, 525. And the House of Fibre binning there again. All these 5 prices were fetched with bales that were identified with the EGT system. So very much worth your while to do that. If we must go to the 5 top prices for adults today, there Driehoeksfontein Boerdery of Maritzburg with his 29 micron adult at R290.50, the top price of the day. And then Francois and Pradel Micho from Craddock with their 28.4 micron adult at 270. And Charles Fitzhenry and Son from Farming Trust from Aberdeen, also 260, and then a bin bale of House of Fibre bidding at 249.10, and then Sean Hobson of Janssenville in the 5th place there with his 50 micron adult at R240.20 per kilo. Congratulations to all these farmers. If we move to our next slide, you will see Mosen Falls quiet again at 7.6% that he bought from it. This is the oldest buying house, and it should buy between 14 and 15% of the market. New England was at 1%. Samuel bought 50.5%. Stukken 52.5%. Sudwolle also at 0.5%, which Sudwolle is always buying here around about 10%. And then you can see the past in rate was 28.2%. Fortunately, we did sell some of those bales, and our past in rate at the moment is at 20%, so 80% was sold. If we can move to the next slide, you'll see that date is actually wrong. The first winter catalogue is on the 18th of August. And the second sale will be on the 8th of September. If you can move to the next slide, you'll see, there's the right info. 18 August is the first sale, and we will see what's going to happen. That 452 bales was offered on today's sale. That is not on the first sale. The first sale, the 18th of August, is usually a smaller sale. We expect a lot of seed this coming season, and hopefully the processes are ready for that. And unfortunately, that is my part of our life. Then I would like to, I'm very curious, and I would like to move to our guest speaker, that is Tristan from a Hansing Landling group in China, comes from Shanghai. Very a good friend of mine. I've met him there quite a few years ago, and we had a lot of contact in the meantime. But so over to Tristan. Thank you for your time spending with us and a lot of Mohair farmers. I would like to know, what is your position in Landling?
Okay. Here, firstly, I come from Hansen, which is one of the biggest top Mohair top in China, top of sales in China.
Yes.
And I am the sales manager. And also in the group, we still have another colleague of mine called Lilay, also a sales manager for Mohair tops.
I'm very glad to hear that. We are very big friends. I must say, I was there in Shanghai on my birthday, and it was the best birthday that I ever had with you guys. So I really appreciate our relationship.
You're welcome.
You mentioned that you are the biggest importer of Mohair tops in China. Tell me, what is the influence of COVID-19 on you as a company in China, and perhaps on what's the influence on the business?
Actually, it's big. It's big impact from last year, from the PETA issue.
Yeah.
And this year, of course, we met the situation with virus again, and almost the big users like H&M, Uniqlo, all stopped. Actually, stopped from last year, and maybe this year they want to start a little bit, but because of virus, their business all stopped it. And right now, no purchase from the final users. A little bit happen is from some domestic users who sells the mohair garments in China.
Tell me what type of mohair are the biggest in demand in China now, with the domestic use?
Actually, right now the main types is the finer types, below 31.
Oh, all right.
The domestic users, they like the feeling of mohair, and they like the finer fibers. No, that costs like what is H&M and Uniqlo, this kind of big users, because they understand this fiber very much, so they use this a lot. But Chinese, they understand the mohair is step by step. So yeah.
It's still a process. Tell me, you spoke about the PETA attack and the influence that they have in China. Am I correct? Is that the big retailers stopped marketing Mohair products like
Yes.
H&M and Zara? Tell me, the Responsible Mohair Standards program that we are just introduced. Do you think that will help? And is that important?
That is very useful and very helpful, because a lot of our clients actually who is promoting to use mohair again is always asking for those things, and we already request to our the factory Stuken for several times.
Mm. What do you think is the longer term future for mohair in China?
I think it's depend on. It's real, because last year from the PETA issue, the situation already reached the button. And of course it will return, but I think it's depend on the time, step by step, and also depend on all the people who doing this business. They paid their attention and hard work on the promotion. Yeah, so it's depend on the time, and I think you guys do a very huge work to promoting, to create the new certificates, the new standard. I think that's good things, but unfortunately we met the virus.
The virus, it confuses everybody, and it mix up everything. Tell me, when do you plan visiting South Africa again after the virus is cleared?
We plan tomorrow, but we can't. Actually, we really want to come to South Africa this year, but it's difficult. It seems right now. Yeah, we want to come to see what the real details you're doing on the farm. Then we can react to the clients that you are changing the system, updating the process, then make them confident.
I'm glad to hear that. Tell me, Tristan, just on a personal basis, are you married yet?
Yeah, I have 2 kids, 2 sons.
Oh, I'm very glad to hear that. Now, I think you've helped me quite a lot with the interview. Thank you, Tristan, for making your time available. And we will forward that to our farmers. And you had a very special message. I'm very glad that we had this conversation. And thank you for your time, and send my regards to Carl as well.
Okay, thank you very much.
Right, that is our story tonight. Jy het allemaal die Bert se back nou gehoor. There's a problem with the demand, especially from China, where our adults are going. There's no demand for 51 micron and stronger, and mainly caused by the uncertainty about the virus. So hopefully we will have a solution, a quick solution before the next season, and then we can take it from there. Good night, everybody. Excuse, lekker slaap.